It's starting to become an annual tradition, not just the Kansas City Chiefs making the Super Bowl, but this interview, myself, Theo Dorsey, and Terry Braden Jr., assistant defensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. You're in your eighth year now. This will be what, your fifth Super Bowl that you've been a part of? I mean, is it getting old? You tired of being at this stage?
Nah, it's never get old. It's just a blessing to be here going on my fifth Super Bowl and hopefully my fourth one winning. And man, it's just a blessing every time you have opportunity to even like win a playoff game and more along to be in a Super Bowl appearance.
Now, you're an Inlet Grove alum, former Inlet Grove head coach as well. We'll talk about your future coaching endeavors, which got announced a little over a month ago. We'll talk about that later. I just want to talk about your journey with the Chiefs. We know this is your last year out of eight. And when you first got there and you joined on to a staff and then Spags takes over and you guys elevate to such a high level, like what were your expectations in year one and how did they exceed anything you could have conceived now that you're eight into it?
Well, my first year I was on the Bob Sutton tree, and um, my biggest goal was to make it through a year. I wasn't even thinking about 2, 3 years. It was my first time being on the defensive side in 2017. Had a chance to work under Hall of Famer Emmett Thomas, DB coach, and Al Harris. And I had a great opportunity just to soak it all in, be a fly on the wall. I had no thoughts, or I never thought that it would be 8 years now where, blessed to have 3 Super Bowl rings under my belt and chance to receive four. God's when everything goes right on Sunday.
There's a lot of talk right now. You talked about the staff you came in with. Now, obviously, it is a Spags-led defense. Him as the defensive coordinator, and you're obviously your guy on the defensive line coach Joe Cullen. I'm curious. There's a lot of talk about that Hall of Fame jacket that should be donned around Spags' shoulders and whatnot. I know we got the in Spags we trust. Just how big of a piece of the puzzle has he been since he got to Kansas City and kind of transformed what that defense can do on all levels?
Oh man, since 2019, Coach Spaz came in and he brought a new confidence, a new swagger, a new mindset, and just his leadership at the top. Just being able to be so organized, detailed, sound, and we gonna watch every last bit of film of every aspect of a game plan, and and regarding the Hall of Fame jacket, if it's anything that happens for him, he definitely deserves.
Yeah, and I got to be honest too, Terry. When I look at all of the success the Chiefs have had, it's funny because when you first got there, y'all were this great story. People rooted for you. Patrick Mahomes became this new toy that NFL fans could enjoy. Is it weird being on the other side now in Super Bowl number five, where most of America is like hating y'all for being successful?
No, I don't, I really don't watch too much or feed in too much of what everybody else says. One thing about Coach Reed, man, we kind of cancel out all the noise in the building and we just focus on the task at hand, and just be a great opportunity. And it's great with Coach Reed at the top of leadership to just focus on, winning the game, winning one.
This is your fifth Super Bowl you've been in. I know New Orleans is great. You've been in Glendale, you've been in Vegas, you've done it in Tampa and Miami. How do those other cities stack up as Super Bowl cities when you think about what New Orleans is now?
Oh man, it's a great experience. All the cities have been great, except that 1 year of COVID because we really didn't really experience the Tampa, city at all. We just flew in that night before the game and played the game. But New Orleans has been great. Great food here. The great food is amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm always gonna say Miami is my number one because my whole family was there. My mom, my dad, and just being in a Dolphin stadium, which I grew up watching. The great Dolphin players and envision myself playing there one day, and it's only an hour away from home. So, the Miami Dolphin Stadium is always going to be a thriller for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't. Number one, that was your first one, right? But you can't beat doing something that great of a magnitude right there near the crib. Again, Inlet Grove alum from Riviera Beach. You proudly rep it. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie though, Terry. There was an article I saw that said Daytona Beach. I don't know if you saw it in Yahoo Sports.
Yeah, that was misprinted. I'm always
Yeah.
going to talk about Riviera Beach through and through.
What is it like now, man? I mean, you obviously are now going to be moving on and taking on the defensive line at Nebraska next. Uh, was this something you ever consider? I mean, going out there and coaching for the Cornhuskers, what were the ties there, and how did that even come about?
Oh man, it was a great blessing, great opportunity to be a part of Coach Rule's staff. Coach Dave Merritt's son committed and signed to Nebraska, and unfortunately, they lost their D-line coach in DC. And Coach Dave Merritt here with the Kansas City Chiefs mentioned my name to Coach Rule without even me knowing. And before you know it, one thing led to another. Had an interview with him. Coach Reed gave me a blessing, and I always have aspirations to be in college, and I think it's a good time for me to transition back down and run the D-line at Nebraska next year with the Cornhuskers.
Now, what I'm most worried for are all the other colleges that like getting talent from Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast, because I know how much of a relationship you have with this area. You're one of the most proud sons from this area. That's going to benefit Nebraska. But all the other coaches need to be on the lookout now. I'm putting them on notice.
Hey, we coming.
Yeah. Terry, for the Chiefs right now, as y'all are going to be, walking in on Sunday looking to do something no other NFL team has done, what has been the mindset around the locker room and whatnot? I know the good thing is y'all have been there before and again, so you know what this is like. You've even played the Eagles on this stage before, so there's a lot of familiarity. But what has it been like just with that added note that this could be something that we've never seen before?
To be completely honest, man, with Coach Reed at the top with leadership, we rarely talk about the history of three-peating. As rarely spoken in the building, we really just focus on the Philadelphia Eagles, their tendencies, and things that we can basically grab and watching their film and game planning.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way to do it, right? And how much are you kind of soaking up? I know that now you're going to be taking your talents out there to Lincoln, Nebraska. You've had the blessing, and they've also had the blessing of having you on their staff to be around some of the great football minds, to be on staff with some really intelligent folks who know not just the strategic side of the game, but then also how to stay level-headed, how to keep people motivated and whatnot. Like, how much of that have you been able to soak up these past 8 years?
Man, to be a part of Coach Reed, Tree, Steve Spagnuolo, starting with Emmett Thomas, it just gave me a wealth of wisdom in the college. Not, excuse me. It gave me a wealth of wisdom of football. I always compare it when people ask me, man, I'm just getting my master's in coaching. Being at this level, seeing how it's supposed to be done right hand. It's just been a blessing for me to really learn and be a fly on the wall, learn different schemes from a 4-3 scheme to a 3-4 scheme, having an offensive background, playing quarterback throughout my collegiate career and high school career, and now being on the defense side going on 8 years. It's just really been a true blessing to basically learn football and X's and O's. And also, too, the biggest thing I learned from Coach Reed, Emmett Thomas, et cetera, is this business is all about people. You got to have good people around you. So, man, I'm really blessed and fortunate to start in my career at the age of 34 to be around all of this wealth of knowledge. And it's going, God's willing to help me and throughout my career moving forward.
What all are you kind of privy of when it comes to Nebraska football, and how much of that are you waiting until Monday to kind of jump in on, and how much of communication have you kind of been in with Matt Rule's staff?
Oh, I've been very active communication, especially with the guys on campus. Anything I can do while I'm away with Coach Rule, through VA text, Zoom, or FaceTime. So we've been very, very active, just being in this constant communication, and anything I can do from the standpoint of being at distance before next week or a week comes,
I
I'll
mean,
be there.
it's got to help, right? It's got to help for Nebraska. It's got to help for even you that the college game is where it's at right now, so closely linked with the way that the pro game works. Players getting paid, free agency is what it feels like with the transfer portal and whatnot. It's like the right time to kind of go to the college game, right?
I think it's a good time for me. I think it's a good time. I had that experience being in NFL, dealing with players that's been paid for, my 8-year tenure here with the Chiefs, and, learning the relationships that you must build and within the building to be successful on the field. So I think it's a great time. And also, yeah, it does have some correlations with the NFL and college, but, you're still dealing with young man each and every day. And, it's all about building a relationship with them.
I got you. And then my last one to you here, as I let you get back to Super Bowl prep and whatnot ahead of Super Bowl 59, Chiefs versus Eagles. As a man, you mean so much to this community. What do you think it would mean to this community for you to return and kind of have this victory lap, your last run with the Chiefs, be one where you're able to take another one of those selfies with the Lombardi Trophy? Because again,
Man,
that's another annual tradition, man.
well, it's always a blessing coming from. I talked about this earlier with Channel 12 with Jonathan Evans, man. It's always a blessing And I'm always going to talk about from Moreland Heights Park, Riviera Beach, Wells Recreation. I went to almost every high school and and middle school or elementary school in Riviera Beach, from Greater Bethel to all the way to John F. Kennedy to Suncoast, and I finished really at Inlet Grove, where I transferred to the end of my high school career. But Riviera Beach has been a blessing to me because it's always taught me you can make it through adversity. And my biggest um, speech going back, I went to the Boys and Girls Club last year, and we just let them know that you can make it not just dribbling or throwing a football or catching or throwing a baseball, any type of sport activity. You could be a professional in something else, a doctor, anything that you set your mind to, that you could be a professional in that area of line of work. But it's all about you putting your goals and letting people know, me speaking life into those young women and men, that they can actually be successful in life. And that's a big part of like coming back to the city and always giving a hand and speaking with anybody that need help to speak to a young man or woman, because that's all it takes. If you can reach one, you can change a generation.
Those couldn't have said it better, and also it's music to my ears. Glad that you're sharing that wisdom with the kids out here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. Again, a three-time Super Bowl champion, hopefully soon to be four-time Super Bowl champion, Coach Bradden. Good luck on Sunday, and tell the family I said what's up.
Man, I appreciate it, Theo. It's always a blessing, and thank you for always supporting my career, man.